Morning, guys and gals. Crosscut Turning back with another episode. Today's going to be a little bit different. We are not doing any turning, maybe a little bit at the end, but not really a turning project. I purchased myself a slow speed grinder and the Wolverine grinding jig with the Vari-Grind system or Vari-Grind attachment with it. So today we're going to be going through setting this up. I'm not going to do an unboxing on these things. I've got it right here. You should be able to read everything the grinder comes with. Most wood turners, you're probably going to know. I think a lot of people use this Wolverine system. So gonna get everything that I can set up, and then we're gonna bring back to set up the grinding jig to the grinder itself. So there's definitely some measurements and stuff. I've only really seen one real good video on how to do it, so hopefully I can do it without messing it up and watch along. And if you set up your own, hopefully you can avoid the mistakes that I will undoubtedly make. So here's everything, and just a quick picture of everything I got. Like I said, it's the Rikon. It's the 8-inch slow speed grinder. It's the half-horse model. And we got the Wolverine grinding jig along with the Vari-Grind. Not the one, but the Vari-Grind 2. So I'm going to get everything unboxed to where I can start setting everything up, and I'll bring it back then. All right, guys, so here's what we've got. So I wanted to build a base for this thing or not build, but use a base for this thing that I could pull on and off my bench if I needed to. I think most times it'll stay here, but if I need to move stuff around, I can. This will afford me to do it. And I can just clamp it down if I have to, just on the edges here. So this is gonna be a mobile base. So what I did is I took this corner off. Let me move y'all over here so y'all can see. So I took this off, the safety guard, because the bottom of this base has to be in between 6 1/4 and 6 1/2 inches from the middle of this wheel. So I need to get an accurate measurement. Excuse me. And so I took this off so I could get that measurement. Come to find out, it needed to be raised up about 1 inch. It was about 1 inch too low. So what I did is I took some plywood, and all I had was 3/4. So I took another piece and I ripped down a 1/4 inch on the bandsaw, glued it together, and then I screwed this piece to this piece. And so now we've got that. I put some bolts in underneath, countersunk them with a Forstner bit so I could lock it down. And now, that's all to get the, scoot this down so y'all can see a little better. That's all to get the grinder mounted in a position where we can even start with the jig. So with the jig, the base has to be, like I said, 6 1/4 to 6 1/2 inches down, and it has to be lined up. This V needs to be lined up with the middle of the wheel. So I just took a speed square. I marked the center of the wheel with a pencil, which will come off first time you use the grinder. Use the speed square, drew a line down here. So I know where that's got to be lined up. It's also, after I did that, I lined it up, and then I drew a line to see where the corner would be. And it's also got to be flush this way. So front of the wheel, the front of the base needs to be in the same position. So I did the same thing with the speed square, lined it up, put a mark, drew a line. That's what we got to do. So next I'm going to have to take this back off because I've got to screw this down to this. The whole thing is you want complete repeatability with this. So nothing can remove in relation to each other. So this has to be permanently attached and this has to be permanently attached. Nothing can move in relation to each other. That's the reason I wanted the movable base. So I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm gonna pop this off. We're gonna screw this in. Well, actually I'm gonna get all the lines for this side first, and then I'm gonna pop this off, and then we'll counter screw those in. And then we'll be pretty close to being done, I believe. I'm gonna have to probably clear the stuff off the back of my bench off. I don't know if the V-arm will work with this. We'll have to see. I'm not 100% sure. I will tell y'all that I bought this as a kit. The grinder, the Wolverine base, the jig, the base jig, and then the Vari-Grind, all as a kit from Woodcraft. It's the cheapest place I could find everything together. I didn't have a grinder. I didn't have any of it. So I think right now they're running it like $270. And you could probably find it and get everything cheaper if you got a different grinder. I know like Wind makes a grinder and stuff like that, but I've got a lot of good reviews on the Rikon, so I went with the Rikon, and that's the cheapest I could find it anywhere. So, and it's definitely cheaper than piecing it all together. So that's the reason I went with this. So if anybody's looking for that, that's what I would do. I would go to Woodcraft. I would look for the bundle. It all comes separately, but the bundle price is cheaper than you'll find anywhere else if this is the kit you're looking for. So I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to mark everything on the other side, and then I'll bring y'all back when it's time to sink these and permanently attach these. All right, guys, be right back. All right, guys, so we've got everything screwed in. Everything is done as far as the initial setup. We haven't set any angles on anything yet, but so you've got down here, let me get this out so you can see better. You got 3 screws that go in to this thing. It's really nice. The jig's already got stuff countersunk, so it's just regular wood screws, 1, 2, 3 on each side. So as far as the Vari-Grind jig goes, like I said, 3 screws go down there, countersunk. It's all set to go. Everything is good to go. These things are interchangeable. You can put the V-arm over here, the platform over there, vice versa. And you just slide it wherever you need it. And this cam style lock locks it in place. We've got everything to this. As you can see, the whole thing moves because it's on this piece of plywood here. So I can pick this up and I can put it on the toolbox if I need to get out of the way, and put it wherever I need to go, and these will always be squared up to this perfectly. Don't ever have to worry about them moving. That's the reason I wanted to do it this way. The Rikon came with a 60 grit wheel and a 120 wheel. I'm not going to show any sharpening because I've never sharpened a tool. So there's going to be a little studying and everything. And as much as I like to make fun of myself, I'm not going to catch it on camera. So there's no proof if I mess something up. So I'll show a little sharpening here and there when I've gotten a couple under my belt. I've got everything set up the way it needs to be, so I can have a better idea of what I'm doing. I've watched a lot of videos and everything, but I've never done any in practice, and first one's not going to be on film. Sorry, guys. So just to show you this thing does work, let me fire this thing up. My bench is a complete mess. It's going to be at least an hour to put everything away. So I got it plugged in. So this thing takes a few seconds to get up to speed. Not a big deal for me. I know they said the biggest difference between when I was doing my research between this one, which is the 1/2 horse, and the 1 horse Rikon, is the 1 horse gets everything up to speed like in 2 seconds. This one takes about 8. I'm not a professional wood turner. I'm not constantly out here sharpening tools. If you were a professional wood turner and that's how you made your living, then that might matter. Those 6 seconds might matter to you, especially if you're over here all the time sharpening. I don't know. So this thing did come with some eye guards, so a little plastic that I might end up using. I left them off for now because I think they would be in the way, but they could be not be in the way. I haven't tested it out yet. All right, a couple of mistakes that I did make. I used everything I used to square up. I used my speed square. Honestly, if I had a machinist square, I probably would have used that. I have a combination square, but it's a cheap one, so I don't know how accurate it is. This I know is accurate, so it was a little harder to mess with, a little more, harder to fumble around with. Maybe if I had a smaller one, it would have worked better, but I got it done with it. But I would definitely use a machinist square if you got one, smaller one, like a little, like 4-inch or something would probably work really well. If you want to make it on a base like this, like I did, where you can move it around, because this isn't going to be its permanent home, then what I did is, one of the mistakes I made is I made this and I got this all done, and then I had another scrap piece and I put it on there. I'm like, okay, so I need, put like an extra inch on this side, an extra inch on this side, or 1.5 inches, I think it was, for this piece, for the long piece, the big base. And then I got everything mounted up with the grinder and everything, and this mounted onto that piece, and then I realized there wasn't enough room for the bases, so I had to go back and recut this out of another piece of plywood. Not a big thing, nothing that was detrimental, didn't hurt anything. I had to redo some work. So I made several mistakes that were just like a concentration error. Really excited. My wife looked at me like I was crazy. I'm really excited to have this tool. There's one thing I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to do with traditional tools. Like I said, I believe you can get a better cut off of them. And they're more skill. It takes a lot more skill. You've got to, if anybody's turned before, you've got to rotate, and you got to have it positioned correctly. Different tools, they all take different skill, and they all have a different purpose. The carbides I use are great, and they were great for getting into the hobby. They were cheaper. I think the carbides I use, the big ones, I spent $150, and you can resharpen the carbide tips, and you can rotate them, and it's all fine and good. They worked well, but I think once I practice and get the technique down with the traditional tools, especially the bowl gouge, I think I'll be able to get better finishes on the bowls, which is something I really want to do. So if you want to get good at something, you need to practice and practice. So that's what I'm going to do. Sorry there was no actual turning project this week. I know this video is not going to apply to everyone that normally watches my channel, but I really appreciate y'all if y'all did stick around and watch it, maybe learn something. Maybe I completely messed something up in the setup of this. If so, please leave a comment and let me know. I know there wasn't a whole lot of action. I just kind of explained what I did to go through. If y'all have any questions about anything that I did do, if I didn't explain something fully, then please, by all means, ask, and I'll try to explain it in the comments, or I'll try to answer it next video. Hey guys, it's been about a week since I recorded all the previous footage, but I did want to, I've got everything set up. I have done some sharpening. I ended up not putting this video out last week. We had, after I got cleaned up and everything, we were having internet issues. I couldn't get this stuff uploaded, so, but I have done some sharpening with the bowl gouge and done a few little cuts on it. If y'all follow the socials, you'll probably saw the pictures I posted and everything. So here's the grinder, and I went ahead and put that light on it just so it could help me see, because this garage is kind of dark. So, but I wanted to show you all this for the video. So I was managed, as soon as I got some, see if I can get this to focus. As soon as I got some tools semi-sharpened, it took me a couple of passes to get a decent edge on one. Let's see if I can get this to focus where you think it go. So this is just a test piece. It was 2 2x4s, or maybe it was 3 2x4s, I don't remember, that I glued up together, just some spare things. So you could see, like, see if I can get in on this, like right, maybe focus. So like that cut right there is super smooth with the bowl gouge. I know it gets a little bit rougher. Granted, this is pine 2x4s, so, but even like these cuts down here are super smooth compared to what they were. I was getting, like, as rough as this is right here, it was like 4 times worse with the scrapers. So I did manage to get, sorry for the wobbliness, I did manage to get a couple of little practice in with it. last week and everything. And the reason I'm going to end up putting this video out this week instead of a turning video is because I screwed up my back a couple of weeks ago, or I say a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, Friday. And I haven't really, today's the first day I've been really able to walk around and everything. So I finished editing the video and we're going to get it posted for tomorrow. So hopefully with the way the recoup is going and everything, hopefully next week we'll be right back on track. And as far as turning videos and everything, I really want to get out here. This couldn't have happened at a better or a worse time. I'm really anxious to get out here, but I don't want to push myself too far and end up not being able to move for a couple of weeks or anything like that. So we're gonna finish letting the back get recouped, and we're gonna get back out here as soon as we can, just not too early. So I just wanted to show y'all that, like these cuts and everything. Like, oh my God, it's so much smoother than I could ever get with the carbide. So I'm really looking forward to extending my craft here and looking forward to what we can get and the finishes we can get just straight off the tool. So other than that, that's going to be it. Really appreciate y'all understanding with the delay and everything. Like I said, hopefully by the end of this week, back's going to be back to good, to where we can get out here and do some work. So, and depending on what's going on, I might show y'all, a little bit of sharpening and stuff, if that's something y'all want to see. If it is something y'all want to see, put it down in the comments, let me know. Like I said, I'm not an expert at it at all. I completely royally screwed up the bowl gouge that I had like 4 times before I got a decent edge on it. So y'all let me know if y'all think that's something that y'all want to see me do. All right, guys, I will see y'all next week. Thank you so much for everything, and thanks for the understanding. And like I said, hopefully we'll be back on track starting next Tuesday with a actual video that's what y'all are used to. So we will holler at y'all later, and have a great week.